Wait, Corinne, I'm looking at the levels. Looks like we got those.
Yeah, do we sound good?
We sounded good. The new studio setup, which you said, why do you keep switching the studio?
Every goddamn time.
But I like to, you know what, I like maybe in
Keep me on my toes?
At our 100th episode, I want to be like, you know what, the whole time I've never changed the studio. It's all in your mind. And like this whole weird coming to Jesus moment for you. But right now, what is really happening is that the show has finally started, Corinne.
Wow, he's doing a weird.
So excited because it's been forever since we talked.
Yes, it has been.
Welcome to my safe word is more. Sorry I didn't formally greet you guys, but you have to understand we're old friends catching up over the phone, landline, 1986.
Yeah.
I'm calling you like, girl, what's going on?
Yeah.
So Corinne Kaplan, tell me what's going on in your life.
Well, I would say that a couple things. One is you were supposed to meet me this morning at an 8:30 a.m. gym class. You and your girlfriend. And I just want to tell you what happened because if you were there. So for those listening, Al is 1 year older than me.
Okay.
All right. The
22?
class was yes, correct. The class that we like to take is it's on why can't I think of the name of the machine?
The stair climber?
No, it's not called that though. Oh my God.
The climber machine?
Yeah, it's a
The ladder climber
Yeah,
thing.
So the whole class is on that. And some of the class, I only take the 45 minutes.
I do like that on the podcast, your first instinct was to act it out.
Yes.
Which is really great for audio.
For the not live audience that we have. Yeah. So the classes, they're usually 30 minutes. I will only take the 45-minute. And so every now and then Al will join me, but I never really pay attention to, I just want 45 minutes and they have so few 45-minute classes. So this one, when I get to the class, the instructor who I actually take her classes in Cycle Bar as well. So like I'm familiar with her. I really like her, but I only took the class. I picked it because it was 45 minutes. And she starts the class and she goes, so this class, as you know, is disco climber, which meant it was disco themed.
No.
And she goes, and for those of you that grew up in the 70s, looking at you, Corinne, you're going to love it. And I was like, bitch, what?
Ooh.
And I was the oldest person in there because you weren't there. And then the whole class, I was like seething. I'm like, I did not grow up on disco.
I'm glad I wasn't there because she'd be like, Al, this is for you. Swing low, sweet. Like just some, like, look, we still understand the concept of music.
Yeah.
I'm 45. I'm not 145. Mm-hmm. That, first of all, I know she meant well, but I don't know. Maybe the audience can say if I'm wrong. I feel like that was a shot.
I just didn't know how, like, I was just so stunned. I didn't even know really that she knew my name. Like, yes, I take classes, but she just immediately, but right at the beginning, pointed me out and was like, this one's for you. What? Truthfully, I don't even like disco. I was annoyed when I heard it was a disco theme.
Absolutely. And if that just means that you were born, like, even if you're born in late, that still doesn't mean that you're of that era. You're coming of age like around 12. So whatever decade you were in when you were like 12, and that's when you start taking in pop culture. That's when you start going, I remember that SNL cast. You start to understand life around that age, not just when you're born, like, you like disco, like you were whatever. Yeah.
Also, it was like, the saddest part is I knew every word to every song. I don't even know why, but it was like, It's Raining Men, and like, just the music is horrible. It's bad. It's not as bad as EDM, but it's bad.
It's super. First of all, disco has some cuts that I actually like, but they never play those. It's like they took the disco era and boiled it down to like It's Raining Men and like a couple things from the Bee Gees. Disco has like some kind of like tracks that like really go. People that roller skate, I know, really roll with disco because it kind of goes along with that activity. But like the fact that she would not only pick disco, which how many people in a class of 20 would want that?
I don't know, but I looked back on the schedule and it says disco as like that, like that's what's getting. How about I went to a class? Well, now
that's so strange to me.
I went to one of my Cycle Bar classes and it was some musician I have never heard of. The whole entire class, every song. Which how many musicians besides like Taylor Swift can you listen to? Like, there's enough songs to make an entire workout
catalog. Like, you have to have an incredible career. Like, you got to have like 4 dope albums to have 45 minutes of bangers.
It wasn't Jay-Z. It was an unknown artist, and I was like, who's letting these teachers make these decisions? Anyway, so we have a lot to catch up on. I have been at a conference all week. I've been doing client dinners every single night. So I was going to kick it off.
That's my personal hell.
Look, I really appreciate getting time and access with the physicians that I can't otherwise see. Like, I'm flying every single week, and to get everyone in the same place, I really have to take advantage of it. But it is quite exhausting. And that will bring me to the first story I'd like to tell you.
Talk to me. All
right. So the conference center, it was at the Colorado Convention Center, and everyone's trying to do the dinners like walkable from the conference center because they finish up like poster presentations between like 5 and 6, and everyone does dinners at 6:30. So my colleague did a dinner at a place directly across the street from the convention center, which honestly like is against all of my it's
Wait, why is that against it for you?
I think anything directly across from a convention center is trash. It just is.
It has to be.
It has to be.
It has. If
they
you're going
don't
to go
have to be
across the
good.
street, just go to Chili's.
Listen.
Just go to Chili's.
They don't have to be good because they know they're going to get the traffic from the convention center because they're across the street. So it's a very, very low bar. So anyways, the convention center, if you're listening and you haven't ever been to one, I feel like most people have, but I have to go to them all the time. It is very disorienting because everything looks the same and you're like, which hallway was this down? Like, it's very, like I go to the exhibitor hall every day, but in terms of like exiting a conference center, there's many, many doors. And when you walk out, it looks the same. It's just the same looking.
It's basically like a gigantic open art installation that changes every time because they change the hallways. They can change how it looks depending on who's in there. It's disorienting. I get it.
It's very disorienting. Okay, we're going to open with that. So I decided that I wasn't going to Uber back and forth to the convention center. I was just going to park. It's like $45 a day to park. But I figured, it's easier for me. I don't want to deal with like... I thought how I am with getting an Uber outside a Nuggets game, okay? I feel the same way about a convention center. It's so hard to get your Uber right. There's everybody else's Ubering. So I was like, it doesn't matter.
I totally agree.
I'm going to park.
I totally agree.
All right. So I parked in the same place across the convention center, I put in the Hyatt Regency and then I was parking at the lot directly across from it because I don't like messing with valet. Now I got to wait for the valet. So I don't want to wait for anything. I'm just going to get in my car and go. So I do this for 2 days. On the third day, we have this dinner across from the convention center. And the dinner is 2 blocks off from where my garage is. And I am exhausted. It is the end of the day. It was one of those restaurants where you don't want to do a client dinner at a restaurant where I have to yell to hear the person directly across from me. And that's so frustrating to me. So I am like, at this point, like hoarse. I have been at the booth all day. Like, it's just been a long day. And I walk out and I go to the parking lot that's right next to the restaurant and my car is gone. And I begin like I don't know how to explain. Have you had your car towed?
Sure have.
It's the worst feeling.
Yes.
In the world. So I am already like about to go full like Karen.
Did you assume towed rather than stolen?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Now, my brain went to towed because I had seen a tow truck earlier in the day. However, I paid for 12 hours for $45. My 12 hours were going to be up at 8:30 because I got there at 8:30 in the morning, just goes to show you how long my day was. And it at this point was like 8. And I know I did not violate anything. Now I'm reading signage and there's all these extra signs. Like I paid at the booth in front of me and there's a sign, a little hidden that's like, do not pay at the booth in front of you. It's the booth behind you, which like is nonsensical. And I am so fucking pissed off. And like, I did pay somebody $45. Okay. So now I immediately go to the signage because I've had my car only towed once in my life and it was extremely traumatic. In that case, I was going down to San Diego and I decided to park at the train station. Because like, what? Okay, so fine. I'm going to go to San Diego and I'm going to avoid the traffic by taking the train. Well, I don't want to also take an Uber to the train. So, the train is in downtown LA. I was in Hollywood. I park and it tells me the cost overnight. Now my company pays for these things. So the cost to overnight parking, some absorbent amount. I'm like, well, whatever. I'm going to be in San Diego for 4 days. I'm parking at the train station. When I got back, my car was towed. Even though it says how much it costs for 24 hours, there's no overnight parking. You see, this is what I'm saying with the signs, okay? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why did you allow me to pay for 24 hours?
It's a scam.
It's such a scam.
Because everything is such a scam, and we are indoctrinated early with cops and Law and Order and movies like Aaron Brockovich where there's somebody that fights for the little guy, and if somebody does an injustice to you, you take them in the court and they're going to break down on the stand, and it's not that.
It's not.
It's set up to be a scam. Please continue, but I have car toad stories.
We'll get to yours. Okay, so in that case, by the way, I got so screwed because it goes to the tow lot, and then every day it goes incrementally up. Like by the time I went to get my car, it was like $700 to get it out. Yes. Okay. Now go back to this story. All right. So I freak out. I call the number, and I'm like, my car has been towed. It was not supposed to be towed. And the woman said, "Okay, what lot?" And I tell her, and she goes, "We didn't tow any cars from that lot." She goes, "But there's been rogue towing. People who just rent their own tow machines have just been taking people's cars, apparently." So she's like, "I'm sorry, but you're going to have to call the police." Yeah. So I like hang up the phone with her, and I'm like, I am at this point, like, I'm like, my laptop's in the back of that car. Like, I'm not going to be able to do work. And I'm spinning the fuck out. So now I call 911 because also I have a question for you. When someone says call the police, but it's not emergency, how do you find the non-emergency? How do you find the non-emergency number?
I think I just heard my mating call. Would you like to have a little chit-chat about non-emergency 911? You might as well be calling Crate and Barrel's non-emergency line. Well, there is nothing after old fuckface cleaned out my crib, stole probably $70,000 worth of stuff. I call the police. They're like, hang up, call the non-emergency line. Their hours on the weekends are like what would be in an East Village EDM record shop. It's like noon to 3 or something.
Right.
Like
with a 1 hour lunch.
Yeah. Just like you call, just waiting on hold. There's like a pleasant woman and you're gonna need to call on Monday. I'm like, yes, no one has a knife sticking out of their neck. So this is not 911, but this is also my car and my laptop. So is there an in-between between hanging out and somebody at the gates of death?
Yeah, so I hung up with her and tried to process that my car has been towed by a thief with a tow truck is like what I've got going here. And so I paused for a second and I realized it is an emergency to me. So I call 911. Now, to make matters worse, I call 911 and I am on hold and they're like, we have a chat feature. Like it's like calling 911. I can't remember a time in history I've called 911, like thankfully, but like I expected it to be like, "Oh, we're tracing this call. Where are you?" And they don't answer at all. And it took so long that it took long enough that I looked up and I see a sign that says Embassy Suites, not Hyatt Regency. I'm in the wrong lot.
Oh.
So I hang up, right? And my phone is on silent because I've been in meetings all day. I hang up. I realize, thank God, I made an error. My car was fine. I go to the lot and I'm like, no harm, no foul. Like that was very traumatic, 5 minutes here. But what ended up happening is the 911 operator calls back. And they keep calling until you answer. And so like I had missed like 2 911 calls of them calling back and because my phone was on silent. And then finally I answered and I was like, so sorry. The situation has resolved itself. Like I'm too stupid to know where I parked.
Yeah.
It wasn't an emergency.
And they're
in the
on
first
the phone
place.
like if he has a gun to your head, say go Rockies.
Yeah. So
okay.
Okay, so my car was not rogue towed, but I want to caution thee, if you're going to anywhere downtown, somebody has rented a tow truck and is just towing cars.
I like how you try and put such a nice spin on this. Like, yes, did I waste the county and the city's time with a fake 911 call? Yeah, but really, let's get to these road tow trucks that I've never thought about before then. Yeah, but the casuality in which she even said that blows my mind. I've had 2 people that have had movers move them from, like, if you were moving from LA to New York and take your stuff and just never show up. It happened to my daughter's mother with my daughter's stuff. So everything that my daughter had tangibly, all her baby pictures, blankets, stuff my ex had from college, whatever her dude had from his grandmother, it's just gone. They don't
hold it for ransom and like tell you.
And this was a legit moving company. She worked for a tech company in Northern California, like one of the big ones. And so they pay for the movers. and the movers show up and they just drive your stuff away and you never see it again.
Oh.
To the point where I think TikTok people have been putting AirTags on their stuff and finding it. But there are shady laws in Florida. All these moving companies are registered in Florida. So you can just it's happened to 2 people that I know.
That's a lot.
Like recently in the last 5 years. Like stole everything they owned, more than in my case because they literally were moving houses. So again, the reason I brought that up is it just feels like there's no recourse for people to do anything. They're just like, yeah, the laws in Florida. And you're like, so now what? And they're like, yeah, that's a tough one. Like, there's never any, like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sue. And it's weird to, like, just ask people to eat that before, like, somebody takes it in their own hands. I mean, really.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Dude, like, you can't be taking shit before it's a problem.
This is the problem with if you have an AirTag and you know where it goes, like, okay, well, if the cops aren't going to do anything, are you going to go in there? And I mean, the guy.
And then if you get there, do you want that smoke? Have you seen Movers?
I
don't know if like Corinne wants to go in there and shoot her mouth off.
No,
We're glad you showed up too.
No.
You know?
This reminded me of this situation. So I was with a guy on a first date, and the guy and I, it was a second date. We go out for the second time and we go to a friend. A friend is a photographer and was like showcasing an art thing on the Santa Fe First Fridays. So whatever, we meet up there and then we're going from there to dinner. And when we get out of the Uber and at dinner, he looks at me and he's like, I left my phone in the Uber. And I am like, oh my God. And he's like, it's fine. I'll get it back. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think you're going to get it back. And we can't get into in order to get into his Uber app to get a hold of the driver because he doesn't have his phone. I'm trying to log in as him and it keeps sending an authentication code to the phone that we don't have. I mean, it was like so difficult.
Did the person that stole it authenticate it?
So I'm calling it thinking like the phone was on. So I'm like, the driver will eventually hear it or the next passenger will. And then it starts just going to voicemail. And he's like, well, maybe it died. I was like, it didn't die, Jason. That's not what happened here. Your phone is stolen.
Yeah.
And I said, he goes, well, I have Find My iPhone, but like, I don't want this to ruin our night. Like, let's and this is in December and that'll come into play in a second. And he's like, I don't want this to affect our night. Don't be ridiculous. Like I said, do you have insurance on the phone? He's like, no. But I believe the good in people. And I'm thinking, you're an idiot. So I can't enjoy myself, and I demand we go back to his house.
Was this the lead in Book of Mormon? Why is he so nice?
I don't know, but he learned his lesson. So I said, let's go back to your house because on his laptop he could Find My iPhone, and I couldn't take it anymore. It was so distressing to me.
Right, especially his attitude also is distressing because you're like, why aren't you freaking out more?
Yes. And so I take him back to his house, and he does Find My iPhone, and now we see it. It's traveling to Colorado Springs, and so I'm like, yeah, like I said, I was like, as previously stated, this is not going to be a return phone sort of situation. Like, you need to, let's call the cops. Let's do something to try and get the phone back. And he's like, no, but can I stay at your house tonight because I don't have a phone? And don't ask me how he swindled this. Oh, let me get to the best part. When we're at his house, we go to his house. And I would not have gone to his house except that this was this situation, right? This is a second date. I wasn't putting out for this. When we get to his house, he has a Bernedoodle, I think. Like half poodle, half Bernese, whatever that stands for.
Bernese mountain dog?
Something like, yeah.
Burmese?
Whatever. You and I are not dog people.
Burma.
Yes,
that's a
from
country.
The country of Burma.
Okay.
So I get to his house and he's getting his laptop and I'm trying to act. Have you ever had to do this? I know you have because your ex had a dog. You got to pretend you like dogs. So I'm like, hey there. I was like, do you have any treats? And so he's like messing around on his laptop. He's like, yeah. Like, get the treats here. So I give the dog a treat, attacked me, bit into my arm. I have a scar from it. It draws blood and I am freaked out. It's a big dog. And he's like, I'm so sorry. We're working on that. And I'm like, what? You're working on it? So you knew this dog has anger issues. Like, I'm bleeding.
Then you find out that he trains his dog with one of those suits where you're just like a giant star, but it's just got your face on it. Like the dog is doing what it's been trained to do. Yeah. Bite into the form and take them down.
So anyways, where I'm going with this story is that the next morning, it's officially the phone is sitting in Colorado Springs. We know exactly where the phone
COS.
is. Yeah. So I said to him, well, what are you going to do about this? And he's like, I don't know. I don't feel like, I said, I'm sorry. Let me correct you. We're going to go to Colorado Springs. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get a $9 bottle of wine, and we're going to show up and be like, hey, I know that my phone's here. I wanted to thank you. Like preemptively being like, I'm not accusing you. I'm assuming you were going to do the right thing, but I just wanted to make it easier.
I'm also assuming that you drink in the morning on Sundays.
I'm assuming you're probably not sober. You're not living a clean life. And he protested with me. And he was like, it's just not safe. I don't think it's safe. I was like, then call the cops. But we know where the phone is. This is the most frustrating thing I've ever heard of. He's like, I'm just going to get a new phone. I needed a new phone anyway. I'm like, no, you didn't. Mind you, it's Christmas and you can't get a new iPhone. It's like a 2.5 week wait for him to get the phone, which is $1,200. And in the meantime, he has a tech job that everything is an authentication through his phone. He cannot work. Like he definitely learned the lesson.
Why is he so calm?
I don't know, but it's one of...
Is that his general personality?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's probably a good way to go through life. I mean, honestly,
didn't think so.
Not in this situation.
No.
But his blood pressure's probably 120/80, killing it.
I mean, his dog attacked me, and the first thing he said is, we're working on that. That's not calm. That's psychotic.
Especially because if your dog attacks anybody, the guilt you would feel, especially if you had a scar, for the rest of my life, I'd be like, oh, man, I knew. Because anytime something bad's happened, you usually feel it. You're like, that dog's being weird, or like, it's not wagging its tail. You know, something,
no.
But you don't act on it, and then something bad happens, and you feel bad. He just is like, eh.
Someone told me apparently poodles are like really like that. It's the poodle part of the Bernedoodle thing.
Yeah. Poodles are not like 100. I think, first of all, I didn't know they were so big, but the small ones, I can speak for this, are unfriendly. And they bite.
Chirpy as hell.
But bit everybody that came into our house. Like every single person. But it's like 10 pounds, so it's like not a thing. And I would used to try and talk to this person. And I would be like, hey, not really cool. We're like 3 straight people have been bit. Like 3 straight. Peter, Peter, who you know, who's been here. My boy Stu, and he was helping me with my movie script. He was bitten as well. And it's just kind of this like, yeah, she really didn't get. And it's like,
oh my God.
The people and their dogs. One, it speaks to the larger dynamic of people with dogs, where they think that their dog is everybody's dog, and like everybody understands dogs bite. And everyone, she peed next to you on this patio where you're eating. Can you be cool about it? No, it's not my dog. It's your dog, and now your dog has made its business my business by biting me.
I mean, I was concerned it broke. I mean, I was bleeding, so I was like, well, I don't know what bacteria lives in this thing's mouth. I probably got to go fucking get this checked out. I saw him one other time after that, one more time, because he was. He was cute. He was smart. I was trying to like make it, Denver's tough. And so I was, making love out of nothing at all. And I go out on the third time, and that date I opened with, how old is the dog? And he was like, well, he had only gotten it like 9 months ago. And I was like, I need to understand, will this dog be a permanent staple, or is there a chance you could give this dog to somebody, give it away? Like I don't see how this would work. I'm not living anywhere near that dog. I'm not staying at your place. Like, that dog has bit me. There's no going back now.
How much are we talking? Like, how big do you think this dog was? Like, pounds-wise? 60?
No, way more.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a lot of fluff. It's a big-ass dog.
Yeah.
Big dog. Big mouth. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And,
it's like funny, not funny.
No.
It's like not funny.
So that date was the last, because I was like, it's really going to be the dog or me. There's not.
Wait, we got to find out what happened with what did he do with the phone? What happened?
Oh my God.
Yeah, the bottle of wine.
I didn't know. No. So he wouldn't let me go. He was like, I don't want to do this. I think this is a bad idea. Somebody who is like stealing a phone isn't the person you want to ambush in their own apartment. Like, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, do you think that's the only thing they've ever stolen? Like, they live this clean life, and it was like one night they decided to steal one phone in Denver?
I mean, I was down for like watching the building, like to see if it was the Uber driver. Like, I was down for a whole thing here. I thought it was kind of exciting. I mean, we knew where the phone, that's the most frustrating thing to me. That's like what I'm saying, when you put a tag on and someone steals all your moving stuff.
But now what? Because another dirty little secret. I don't know if they don't have enough manpower, but even when I don't think the cops do anything until somebody's dead. Or actively bleeding. and maybe that's maybe we should have another group of people that investigate not petty crime. Like petty crime to me is like, okay, somebody tried to steal, some razors from CVS, but a laptop or like, stole, something big out of my backyard. But there's like this weird limbo where most crime falls, but the cops won't go there unless somebody fires a gun.
Severe. How about I saw somebody get clipped at King Soopers
for theft?
Yeah, well, it was a guy who I think was homeless. But the security officer, now all the King Soopers, because of the shootings, they're like they carry guns, and he was like, sir, and then I just kind of hovered in an aisle because I wanted to see what was happening here, and he was like, you can't steal, and the guy was like, I'm not stealing, and he's like, you're putting things in your bag, and he's like, because I this is my reusable bag. And he's like, yeah, so you can't do that. You need to put it in a cart, and then, like, when you check out, put it in the reusable bag. And the guy was like, it was very clear he was stealing. And the officer was like, okay, well, try not to do that again, okay?
And he just let him go?
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, there was a story, and I mean, it's horrific, but this guy at a CVS, like this manager, was taking his job way too seriously, shot a pregnant woman that was stealing, and she subsequently went into labor.
Oh, no.
And it's like, I don't, again... It's that gray area of, okay, the officer recognized that somebody was stealing from the store that he's designed to protect. The person stealing it recognizes that he's been recognized. Yeah. What's the next step? Because if I chase you in the parking lot, and let's say I chase the guy, and I'm the loss prevention person, and they run outside and they get hit by a car. And then the story is...
just for $6 of
a poor kid got killed.
Yeah.
So do I just let it happen?
That's what I don't understand.
What is the rule for any of this? Especially if because I don't think the cops are gonna go to a random apartment because somebody in Denver says somebody in Colorado Springs might have their phone. How do you know what if I'm assuming this person didn't have a house?
No.
So which apartment is it of the 9 terrifying apartments in this terrifying courtyard? You know? So I don't know what you do, and I think we only hear stories of when people go rogue because they feel like they've been wronged. And it's like, yo, why would that dude show up at his ex-wife's house to get his TV back with a gun? Because
he
could never afford that TV, and she just took it. And I'm not saying that's the way it should have gone. I'm just saying that everybody doesn't have the luxury of dealing with things with delicate sensibilities. It's like, if you don't go get your bed back, you don't have a bed, dog.
Yeah.
So what you about to do?
By the way, I wouldn't want the guy who was stealing at the supermarket to be like handcuffed.
Right.
But I was confused as to how we go. I don't know. I just felt like I don't know. It was an odd scenario. Like, I just don't do that again. I think he's going to do it again because there doesn't appear to be a punishment.
Dude, I got caught stealing. What happened?
Nothing.
I had a pleasant conversation with a gentleman. We're going to watch the game Friday.
I mean.
Like, what do you do?
At the end, I feel like he said, have a nice day. Like the officer. Like, it was a weird interaction.
And I have seen people I remember when I lived in Indianapolis briefly with my ex-wife when we moved there, because her parents were there. We were trying to get ourselves together. I walked into the mall like 9 o'clock in the morning, and this 15-year-old black, like, she was younger than, she wasn't 18. She was like probably high school age. And I opened, like when you walk in the mall, there's 2 sets of double doors. I opened up the set, and it's like I had gone there to return something. This was like when only old people were in there. It's like 10:01 a.m. on like a Friday, Wednesday. And I opened the door, and this girl is running past me full speed, and like I hadn't had a couple. I mean, I'm talking about like the way that you would run track, like because she was getting ready to push through the doors, but I was opening it. So she was like, "Oh, I got a little momentum." This guy's like opening the doors, and she blows past me, blows through the other set of doors, and right on her ass was like a 30-year-old, like short, like store manager from the Gap. Headset on, but he took it so serious. I guarantee you she was shocked at, first of all, how fast this dude was, and because I think she was like, I'll go in the mall early, everybody's kind of groggy, I'll steal and be out of there before they really even open the doors. But this manager, he must have just been Like, so, and I mean,
he was not to be truffled with.
He was not. Oh, this guy was on her ass. He was. I don't know. And I mean, they were running so fast they ran around the corner. But I mean, they were outside, out of the mall, and they were both still running full speed. So it's like, which manager are you? Or are you the have a nice day? Or are you the I am 4 inches off your tail?
Yeah.
And she was young and athletic, and he was on this girl. So I don't know. So if we have a lawyer, please write in and let us know, like, what are your rights if somebody steals your stuff and you know where it is? What are your rights?
I know.
I don't understand this.
We'll have to ask Liza. She'll know this.
Yes, and should you not call the cops for stuff? Because when I called about my stuff,
they're so useless. It's.
I never got through.
Yeah.
When I did end up talking to the cops, they were just like, yeah, we talked about it. Like, they just had like a back and forth because I had to call so many times. I had talked to a bunch of different cops about my situation. So I guess the people that were at police department were like, hey, there's a black dude that's saying like he got all this stuff. And some were saying, he was like, yeah, some of us think it's a civil thing. It's like they didn't even know. He was so honest. I didn't think it was BS. He was just like, some were saying call a lawyer. Others were saying that's domestic. Some people were saying it's community. It's just, I think it's gray.
Yeah, and they're not going to do that research.
No.
That's on you.
Hey, they're only the police. What would you expect?
I have another follow-up with photo and video evidence to show you. So, while we're on the topic of such a thing, I went back to what we'll call the scene of the crime, where I got stuck in the bathroom. I went back and I was like, I'm going to video the door and I'm going to see if Al thinks that it was my mistake. I will say upon going back, I see where my confusion was, but it wasn't as hard to figure out that it was. So let me back it up here. So I was meeting my friend Carly for drinks at the Family Jones, which is where this whole scenario went down. And I got there a little early so that I could go in the bathroom and video and take pictures of the store because and then she sits down, and Carly and I have known each other for several years, and we've traveled together. She sits down and I was like, listen, before I forget, the bathroom here is it's really challenging. And so I just want to make sure in case I forget, and so I tell her how I got stuck in the bathroom. And she's just kind of like, And I think she was thinking, like, I've traveled with you. I know you're dumb. Like, I seen you do dumb shit.
I've heard this conversation with the bathroom taken out, and sometimes it's the airport.
So yeah, we were there for like 2 hours, like getting martinis. And so at one point she has to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, hey, don't forget. It's gonna slide. It's not gonna push or pull. She's like, God.
God.
She sits down, and I was like, so? And she's like, I'm sorry, I don't really understand why you had a problem. So now let's go to the footage.
Okay.
So y'all, we are gonna put this up on our Instagram. My safe word is more.
This better be a really complex door. This better be a really complex door.
I think the problem is, you guys, there's a latch lock above the shift thing. I don't know. You watch and.
Okay. So once you unlock it.
Okay.
I thought you pushed or pulled, and that's why I was trapped. But it turns out it's not.
Okay.
All right. So what happened to me here that I couldn't? I'm not sure, but look, it's like a Monday morning quarterback. Like when I went back into the bathroom.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It's not, because here's why you would be such a good lawyer. Because you set the scene like, look, we can all get locked in this bathroom. Anybody that's able to figure out a pantry in like the 1600s in the countryside in Germany, it's the same latch situation. It's just a latch that you lift up and move to the side so it's not latched anymore. And there's really only two directions a door can go. Some slide and some push.
I mean, I remember the fear. Like, I was so scared. I was like, I am stuck in this bathroom.
Do you think it unlocks some other things that symbolize something?
I don't know. I thought that like maybe the earth had shifted a little and this door was stuck and there was no way I was getting out, and I was like one of those miners.
Yes. I don't think. Did you mean do you mean miners or the Thai swimmers? Remember there's
yeah.
There's the cave swimmers.
Well, that's yeah.
And they got a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the minors, they were stuck there for a while.
There's always a couple minor. That's
the risk you run.
That's a rough job.
Yeah.
That's a rough. And then it's also the job that like poor people. No, it's a job that people have never worked a day in their life have no idea how hard it is. So they're just like, yeah, I'm so exhausted. I feel like a coal miner. It's like, dude, you work in tech. You don't know what it's like to be a coal miner. Just on a good day. Like it's horrible. So yeah, it's that door was not. It's the door I expect now in 2023. Everybody knows about my issues with the shit gap.
It's the barn door.
Yes. Yeah. I don't like the sliding doors. Stop trying to be fancy, especially in hotels. Don't be fancy with the bathroom door in the hotel because we don't need the shit gap.
Well, of course, and that's why they had to put this weirdo latch on it because those doors will not. They're not doors. They're for barns.
Right.
They're not. They don't stay closed.
Right. They're called barn doors. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well,
so
that's what we're calling them.
The second follow-up I would like to highlight, I have a couple of things on this that I want to talk about. So I know you fell in love with, while we're on the topic of minors, look at that fucking smoothless transition. The guy I went out with from the Colorado School of Mines, which, by the way, I did put him to work. And so there was, but when I was on the date, was kind of like,
yeah.
Okay, I can take it or leave it.
Borderline out of line.
Yeah, I know.
Your entire,
And then when you lit up at the idea, I knew how good Colorado School of Mines was, but you were like, I'm friends with this guy. So I thought, well, and I talked to one of my close friends, Garen, and I said to her, I told her the story, and she's like
that name.
I know. And you want to hear the craziest thing? So her name's spelled Garryn, and her sister's name is Corinne.
Garen and Corinne.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
I like that. I've never heard Garen.
I hadn't either until I met her, but she's a very Garen.
It sounds like camera
5'11".
equipment. It's like, put that on top of that Garen and stick that right there. It's like it seems like a fancy tech thing.
It suits her really well, though. Anyway, so I had called Garen and I told her the same thing I told you, and she was like, you need to apologize.
Yes.
Like, he's probably servicing this story out to anyone he talks to. Like, you believe this bitch? She's like, you need to apologize. So I tried to, like, tell between my legs, like, come back. And if you'll remember what the reason he was in the bang or buy and I wasn't considering seeing him again is because we were supposed to go sip and paint. And then he just ghosted me. And then that day I was like, well, how about that sip and paint? I didn't say that, but I was like, hey, how was your day? And he's like, oh, just getting to the bar to watch the Nuggets game with some friends. I'm like, oh, so you had no intention of sipping and painting. We picked out a painting.
I in his defense, I would never have an intention of sipping and painting. That should never be your intention.
That's fair.
It might happen.
So, all right. So I bring it back, which y'all who used to listen to my old podcast, I can do a bring it back like nobody's business. I have a whole theory on like how do you resurrect somebody?
Right.
That goes from sending pictures to all different things. One of my favorites is after they've ghosted you about like 5 months later, you text them, I think we should see other people.
Oh.
And usually they respond. Okay. So I bring it back and I tell him, so he says to me, are you busy? Oh, okay. Sorry. I forgot this. No. So I bring it back and we were supposed to go out last Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday. And I really
So this is after the Miss Sipping Paint.
Yeah. Miss the Sip and Paint Wednesday. I bring it back. We make plans for Sunday.
Okay.
On Friday night, he texts me with, can we reschedule? Are you busy Monday or Tuesday? His friend, the VP of the Nuggets, texted me and said she has one extra ticket for the Nuggets game on Sunday, so I'm definitely going. Yeah. And I didn't like the attitude with this.
It's a playoff game.
Well, so two things happened here. I actually responded, oh, I totally get it. I have a transplant conference with client dinners all next week, so not sure what your Saturday night is, but I could do Saturday night or tomorrow if you're free, whatever. So I give him a couple of options.
You give him options. Okay.
So he then says, it's like now like 7:30 tonight. And he's like, are you busy tonight? Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, but yeah, I'm not, you're not making, this is a second date. Come correct. Mm-hmm. He lives in Westminster. So he's like, decent, like you're not going to get to me until 8:50. No, nah, bro. Not happening. So I just said it's a friend's birthday. It was not. So.
I love it.
So
always keep your self-dignity. I love it.
So simultaneously, I had like a bug up my ass. Like, I don't like people that think basketball is so, you know what? You have the chance to go out with me again. And you chose sitting by yourself at a playoff game. Ew. So I just get like a real attitude about it. And so I know the coach on the Nuggets. And so I hit him up and I was like, hey, long time no talk. Like, we should catch up. And he's like, yes, we should catch up. What, like, can I take you? Can we, he goes, I have he like, a scouting dinner from 6 to 8. It's in DTC. I'll drive to you. I could get to you by 8:30. I was like, fine, let's meet for drinks. So I meet him for drinks, and my intention in my head, I mean, I like him and I wanted to catch up with him, but also I'm like, you see, it's the actual coach, the guy that's coaching the game tomorrow, the playoff game, found time to see me with almost no notice. And this guy's got to go. And so I start.
Did you take a picture and said, wish you were here?
No, but I definitely referenced it. So when my friend gets there, I launch into a 45-minute discussion on Rocky the mascot and why don't they just put him in? and he was like, at a certain point, he was like, can we close this chapter of the conversation?
Right.
Because I was like, he goes, he practices all day. Every time we're not there, like he's just making those shots. He goes, it's a father-son duo. The father's more talented than the son, but they're really short. Like there's no, he goes, and that's just the one thing he can do. He can't do other stuff. And I was like, still, it just feels like if you gave him a chance, and he's like, I'm not going to put him on the team. And he goes, and by the way, they make $600,000 a year.
No, they don't.
This is the highest paying mascot in basketball.
That's impossible.
It's true. The fucking coach told me. But he goes, he's the father's training the son. So he goes, I can tell which one it is.
Is this the Karate Kid?
Yes.
You're talking about father training the son?
Yeah, he's grooming the son
Soon
to take
you
over
will
the
take
empire.
Over. Here's your Shrek head.
Yes. I was like, I mean, is it the same costume? Like, I'm asking, and he's just like, Corinne, I see the guy every day in the gym. Like, it's just the one shot he can do. So, all right. So I use this information to casually drop to the other dude. So I said to him on Sunday, the day that I had now had drinks with my friend Saturday night. Sunday, the day he ditched me for thinking, he said, I had drinks with my friend who coaches the Nuggets last night and asked him about 9,000 questions about Rocky, and now I know more than anyone should. I'll have to enlighten you next time we hang. Have fun at the game. Just like, you think you're special? Oh, you think you're special because you go to a fucking playoffs game? Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I can tell you don't watch basketball because you called it a playoffs game.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
It's a playoff game. It's just singular. You're on the courts, dribbling your balls all over and shooting them. You think I care?
I just was so like, this is so loserish. I have said this many times. If you choose anything over getting laid, it is loser behavior.
It's
loser behavior. Okay. So he says, are you busy? So you're busy this week, but free Saturday. And I said, yes, I have a client dinner every night, but free Saturday. He goes, nice. Let's hang Saturday. Okay.
That's vague.
Are we all, I mean.
Was there a time where he said, let's hang?
He said, Kay, let's hang Saturday. I said, sounds good.
Wait, did he text Kay?
Yeah, but it was in the same text.
No, I just don't like when somebody said, I don't like that. Singular K. I don't like that.
I was so far gone off the basketball stuff that the K didn't bother me as much.
That's a playoffs
I said, sounds
game.
good. Then he sends like a kissy face,
Okay.
All right. So now Thursday, I reach out. I'm like, he was supposed to have an interview this week. I was like, did you have that interview? And he's like, I had a couple interviews, but the pay was really low. What are you doing tonight? And I'm like, well, as previously mentioned, I have a dinner every night this week. So I'm currently at dinner with UCLA Transplant Center. So he's like, oh, that's rough having so many dinners. He was like, yeah, it just feels like, he's not working right now. He has nothing to do but read and remember these texts, right? Like, this isn't that hard.
It sounds like, okay.
So he goes, on Friday, okay, at 1:13 p.m. So are you trying to hang tomorrow or Sunday? I feel like we said Saturday 3 times. He goes, I have a nephew's birthday at 3. Then my friend is having people over at his house to watch some fights at night tomorrow. So I was thinking tomorrow night, like as in Saturday. But if you have other plans, then I guess Sunday. I just have a lot of work on Monday, so I don't hang very late. Maybe meet for a few drinks mid-afternoon or something. Then he says, you could come hang Saturday night if you want. It'll be us getting drunk and probably doing drugs, LOL. And I think we're done here. And it's officially bye territory.
Okay. This is why I'm not going to go bye. I'm not saying that it can't be on the tip of your tongue. I'm not sharing. I'm not saying don't say bye. But like, okay, this is what I'm saying to anybody. And it doesn't matter what the term of F-boy fuckboy, it refers to anybody that's in this kind of lifestyle that I was in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's a default lifestyle when you don't have a reason to not act like that, because being a fuckboy is, when you're in that lifestyle, is great. You don't have any responsibility. You don't have any emotional responsibility. You're worried. That's why it's like he's probably having that conversation with 2 or 3 different people. That's why everything's vague. Hey, I'll see you this weekend. Hey,
yeah.
see you. It's kind of like I know we said something, but I don't know. But I'm saying this, Corinne. If you think there's something there, being on Fuckboy Island doesn't mean that you can't be taken off Fuckboy. I was on Fuckboy Island because there's nowhere else to be, unless you're a person of dignity, which I was not. If you have means, hey, I'm going to get drunk with the boys and watch the fights. Hey, I'm going to go to play off the game. He doesn't have any kids. He doesn't have a reason to have responsibility. But if you give him a reason to get his shit together, just by your mere presence,
I'm not going to be part of the construction crew. I don't give a fuck what happens to him. But
I'm
I will
fine
tell
with
you
that.
this: it went from I would really like to see you, like he rescheduled because he got tickets to the game. But I'd like to see you. You're busy all week, and then midweek he forgets that. Just go back, look at the texts, like. Fine. He then validates that we're going to see each other Saturday, and then is like, "Oh, you can come meet." And I was like, you can show up at my friend's house to watch. By the way, I like fights. I would watch a fight. There was a way to do this that didn't make it seem like I'm so insignificant that like I can tag along.
I guess you can tag along.
Fuck you.
You can sit on the foot part of the ottoman.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah.
I didn't respond, and he was like, "So I guess Sunday then?" And I'm just, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's, and here's how that works from the fuckboy's POV. What he's doing is, because I've done this too, it's an all-day drink-a-thon leading up until the ultimate drink-a-thon. So you've got
you got a pregame before the pregame.
Yeah, you're pre-gaming before the pregame, and you're also texting 4 different people to just kind of figure out what's going to align right and who's like, because there'll be the Corinnes that have an adult. So you're like, oh, she's at a dinner. Yeah, she's not going to be tuned up enough for her to come over to the fight. What he's looking for is the girl that goes, oh, me and my girls were meeting my friend who's in from San Antonio. We're going to go to a shots bar from 6 to 7, and then we don't have anything to do. It's like, yo,
come through.
4 drunk chicks will be here at 8. So you're going to want that group. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
he's scanning to find his perfect fucked up with me tonight partner, and you weren't it. Thank God for you.
No, I was heavily considering going and then changing horses mid race, like finding another guy at the party.
Oh,
I mean, it's a party of dudes watching a fight, and I know more about fights than almost anybody else. So like, and you know me, like I love to entertain a room of people I don't know. Like I have no problem with. I do not need to cling to you like a buoy in open water. Like you, I do not. You could leave me alone at a party, and by the end of that party, I will have everybody eating out of my hand.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about going, but then he at some point in the text mentioned that it was in Arvada. I don't leave the city, guys. All right.
I love it.
It's not gonna happen.
It's a good idea. You should not be that far from home drinking. It's just, I know it sounds like some old people, but it's like there have been so many times where you're like, oh, my friend's cookout and it's 40 minutes away. And then you go with your friend and then you find out 3 hours into the cookout that your homie left an hour ago. And now you're in some weird county that's not even the county. It's like, oh, I'm in Johnstown County. It's like, oh, they got sheriffs with like the circle lights out here. Like I should not be here. You should not leave. I get it. I love that about you. I love that about you. You can't.
Bad things happen when you leave the city. I don't do it.
Bad things happen.
There's enough bars here.
There's probably a bar on your block.
There is.
2. There might be probably 2 dispensaries and 2 bars. So then
why am
I going cross town to get a vodka soda? Come on, dog. Unless you're giving me a reason like there's a dope steakhouse you need to go to. There's a dope lounge my boy runs. These are reasons to do things, but I'm not driving across town to sit on your friend's hot, stupid couch with your dumb friends making corny. Oh, dude, I would have ducked that right hand. Or would you? Would you have, buddy? And so it's like, there's no reason for that. And especially, he should want to be selfish and be with you only.
I would, look, your worst move, I promise you, I mean, he doesn't know me very well, but like, your worst move with me is to take me into a group of dudes because I always have plate envy. I'm always like, oh, that one's hotter. I get it. That one's better looking. You know, like that one's taller. That one has more money. Like,
it's like when you take your car to the Audi dealership and you're like, oh, that A8 is real nice.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good looking guy, but like, I don't know, unless he had some squatty friends, there's probably a better looking one there. And I am that girl. I will do that. We don't know each other that well.
Honestly. And hey, it's just also like reminds you to level up and keep it together because, you know, if you're not coming correct, which we've agreed, and you took your medicine, you weren't the greatest on the first date. But after that, his behavior has been not great.
So I matched with another guy. See, this is the thing. I know that everyone has the situation in the dating world, and I don't doubt that he's got a lot of options. Sure. I just feel strongly that I was his best option. I matched with a guy. This guy doesn't live in Denver, which is annoying. However, he lives in, I think it's a mountain town. I don't know how you say it. Berthoud. Berthoud.
Oh, I've seen that before.
I think it's kind of like fancy. Like it's like.
Oh, is it?
It's not. I'm in, you know, Aurora. I'm in like a city that's not Denver, but like cheaper than Denver. This is like I'm in like a palatial over the mountain looking estate.
Ooh.
I know. And I don't even care because these guys never last, so who fucking cares? This guy that I matched with has the greatest. I love his first name. It's like my favorite first name for a boy.
I need to hear this.
So I like really like nobody poor has this name. It's a regal name. You want to take a guess at it?
Oh, what's a rich people? Bartholomew.
That's terrible.
Bartholomew is like a family. Gregor. I don't know.
Close, not that bad. Okay, his name is Sterling.
That's so true.
Oh, come on, you can't be poor.
Yes,
you definitely can't be poor.
And you know what else? You know what else you can't be poor with? Whenever your first name is just a letter and then the dot.
Yes.
Like that's when if it's like you welcome to E. Fitzgerald Associates, you're like, oh, this dude got dough.
Yeah. So he's getting a shot at the title, and I will be meeting with him. He is very tall. He's a vice president of a company, and I mean, got all his hair and his teeth look nice.
There you go.
And he is like, I will come to you. Do you have any local recommendations? Like, he's not like, you want to come to my friend's house?
Right.
You know? Like, also, my ass.
My wife sees him too.
Yeah.
I still laughed about that all week. I'm listening to last week's pod, but that was one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, Corinne is trying to tell everybody that no matter how this world tries to coddle you in terms of like, hey, just be you and be yourself on your first date. Don't. Come correct.
Yeah.
Call the person, be like, yo, what are you into? Here are the options. I got this. I'll make sure you get home. I'm excited to see you. Anything else I can do, I'm excited to be around you. Act like you want to be there. This whole cool, like, just hung out all day in my pajamas and my flip-flops having a self-care day. I got into it.
Yeah.
This week on my show I got yelled at for 2 straight blocks about self-care.
Oh my God, I saw the clip with Erica.
Yeah, and it's like, first of all, 2 blocks, I didn't get a chance to respond. Whatever.
Explain to the audience what blocks are. They're not going to know.
Oh, so they're commercial blocks. We have our A block when we come on. It's usually like 8 minutes. Second, B block's like 3. The C block's like 4, and then the last one's like 3, and that's your half-hour block.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is his whole fucking day.
Yeah, it really is. I know people will hate me. And so I'm like, man, it's like 3 minutes. I had to be there. And so, we were going through words that don't mean anything. I talk about that you hear a lot. And it's great because I wanted to talk to you about this. The words that they were bringing up was sourced. Like, oh, this lettuce has been sourced from a farm to table. Have you been to like if you go to like Fresh Greens or whatever, everything's sourced and farm to table.
Yeah, I don't, I'm like, how many chemicals could you pump into this to take the calories out? What's the source? I hope it's a chemical plant.
It's just a fancy way to say it's organic and like, we didn't.
That's, you're right. It has gotten to be popular.
Sourced and like gifted instead of saying I gave you a gift. It's like, here's a picture of me on Instagram gifting Corinne something. And
this is so interesting.
Yeah, there's like these new words, and I've been talking about this in my act. The way that you bullshit somebody is you take a regular activity and you give it a regal
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
So instead of
take a
like
Scott
saying
and turn
like,
it into a Sterling.
I'm super depressed and I've been sitting in front of the TV in my underwear. Oh, I just binge watched 8 shows. I did a deep dive on Netflix this week. No, you didn't,
No.
and that's okay.
Right.
And we got into this whole thing. I think the word handcrafted. That's how you know some bullshit. Oh, this is a handcrafted cocktail. Oh, is it? Give a shit.
Yeah.
It's a fake. You stirred it. That's cool. But like all the contactless delivery, that means your food's on the fucking floor.
Yeah, your food's
It's
getting cold, and it might have been delivered to the wrong door. You won't know until you
exactly.
open yours.
It's all these fake grandiose terms to make you feel better, and it's fine. But just understand when you hear those terms, it's not because somebody likes you or appreciates what you're doing. It's because they're trying to market to you. So when you hear the term self-care, it's always from Nivea or Dove. And like, ladies, take a self-care day with our product. They don't understand that it's for marketing. They're taking a real thing that women are overworked and underappreciated and associating that feeling with their brand. That's why I had a problem with it. I didn't get a chance to say because they're like, oh, every man thinks self-care is BS. I'm like, no, just use the right word.
Right.
You're taking a selfish day. And what's wrong with that? You should be selfish. It's okay to be selfish. But don't call it self-care some grandiose term.
I think one of the biggest problems I have, maybe this is because I am, and this is actually a great segue, because I think I am somebody that I don't find the things that people tag as self-care to actually be helpful. Like a bath, well, I hope you're taking a shower or a bath every day, friend.
Yeah.
Like my skincare regimen. It's not, I mean, yes, it is, I guess, taking care of myself because I don't want wrinkles, but by no means is it like a bonus luxury. Like the term self-care has, it doesn't, for me, like, okay, you know what, self-care, you get that private jet, we go to Paris.
Yeah.
That's self-care. Like, reading a book is self-care? What? This is just killing time.
It doesn't mean anything. And we're in a world where corporations throw around the word homemade and no one says anything because none of the words mean anything anymore. So if that's what y'all want, have at it. But I'm going to live in a world of reality and say what I feel. And just be more direct. So
right along lines of this, we had a patron that wrote in to the Facebook page and said, my partner and I have been working too much lately. So I decided to try out the floating. And of course, I thought of you, Corinne. It was hell. We both hated and were bored out of our minds. The 1 hour session.
I love them already.
I know. The 1 hour session was the longest hour of my life. And I was afraid by the time I left the stupid pod, everyone I knew would be dead already. It's okay.
I love you.
When we were done, the guy at the front desk was like, hope you guys enjoyed it and become part of our community. We like to call ourselves floaters. And he just wrote in all caps, run.
First of all, floaters is not a great term for anything.
And there's no community. I'm sitting in a fucking tank.
There's no community. I don't want to be fake friends because that's super dangerous.
Yeah.
When you start saying we're a community and we're all friends, it's like, no, we're not. We're all just sitting in this weird water. I had a friend of mine that did one of those and had to go straight to she was on the road as a traveling dancer. They had to interrupt their tour because she had to go to the hospital with a 9/11 style UTI.
I was just going to say. You know
Yes.
what? You know what the better term is? It's not community. It's communal.
Yes.
And you're going to get a communicable disease.
Yes. You're in okay, guys, degree in biology here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know how bacteria grows? Mm-hmm. Dark, warm, wet places. Anything let's see, maybe a floating pool of disgusting body jizz.
That's just new people with their skin sloughing off.
Unshowered. Yeah, dude, you don't know what's coming out of somebody's pores. They might not know. You people have stuff going on inside them they don't know because they're asymptomatic and they're just going to sit in a vat. It's literally a petri dish. You're floating in a giant petri dish that you're paying for, and then you're having a fake spiritual connection. Thank you, people, for coming and come back. And next time, sign up for our mailing list. Oh, is that what Buddha would ask me to do? You guys are running a business here, and be honest about that. And that's why people reacted so negatively to what I said. It's like, I want to live in a world of honesty. This isn't self-care. You want self-care with your products involved. So just understand it's a marketing term. No different than community, communal. A commune is like, yo, I'm having a baby. Can you help me have
Yeah.
that? That's what a community used to do.
I don't want to raise
You know
these
what I'm
children.
saying? There's 10 guys about a mile out of here with swords that are coming to kill everybody. So maybe this community get the men together, and that's when it means something.
Mm-hmm.
But all this other fake, we just go to the same yoga studio.
Yes.
We're not friends, and don't watch that's murky waters, because when you stop being able to identify who's your friend, that couple was immediately able to identify this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
can
know.
still have an experience, but you don't have to be like, now we're in the Dunkers Club.
We're floaters
That's
now.
so gross.
I know.
I'm a floater.
My biggest
Isn't that
problem.
what the FBI says when they find a dead body in the water?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, or poop.
I was my head went to that.
It's weird.
But I just don't like being alone with my own thoughts. That seems torturous to me. I mean, I really. I do get massages very infrequently because I'm like, is the time up yet? I don't like to think.
Wait, how long is your ideal massage?
Ideal? 15.
I was going to say like 9.
Yeah.
You know, just.
I get, after that, it's just.
I don't know what we're supposed to be doing
I don't
here.
either.
Like, after you need 60 minutes to reflect.
It's so long.
On what are you doing every week? Are you deciding whether to are we going to go to war with Russia in 84? Like, why are you having so much turmoil and tumult that you need an hour to float to, like, I just think it's also kind of self-indulgent. Like, I'm so deep. I'm going to need an hour, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you probably not.
Yeah.
You probably didn't do that much this week.
I don't
know many people, unless you're the president.
You know what I did do that was at least quick, although I didn't. I guess I got some benefit. You just go in. You got to last 2 minutes. It's like a freeze.
Oh, I know, the cryogenic.
Yes.
Right.
So I wasn't going to pay for this, but like when I did Joyce's memorial, my friend is a publicist and he hooked us up with. He's like, we're going to go, it's right by the hotel. We're going to go and we're going to just cryo and we'll get like IVs so that we're not hungover. So it's very post-memorial thing to do. So we went and they put the timer in front of, you have the gloves on and you can see the timer and they want you to, I think you're supposed to last 2 or 3 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, it's
hard.
It's like a rich person's walk-in freezer. Like,
yes.
You just kind of like, it's like where you would store meat.
But I was very like adamant that like, I think I lasted the whole time. I was like, this is expensive. And I will tell you, I mean, it's not fair to judge because I also had the IV, but I did take away my hangover. And for 2 minutes, I mean, fine.
Yeah. And you know what else? Which I do think there are some benefits to cryo. I really do. I've done it a few times. It's good for your joints. What you can also do if you live in a cold climate like Denver in the winter, just strip down to your underwear when it's -10 and just step outside for like 2 minutes. Same thing, buddy. Yeah. And it's free as fuck.
Yeah. So I like when you guys write in with your stuff. So while we're on the topic, I want you to get an email out. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell just this quick story. When I met my friend who's the coach of the Nuggets. He is, he's 6'6".
Okay. So and he's also annoyed that you ask him about Rocky.
Yes, but he's a 6'6", very obvious. He's an ex-NBA player. He looks, even if you didn't know he had played, like even if you didn't know he was the current like assistant coach, you'd still be like, who's that guy? Because he's got that athlete look. And he walks in and we walk to the table and this guy's like, Corinne, oh my God. So I've seen you around Denver twice and I haven't asked for a picture and I really want a picture. And I was like, yes. And meanwhile, he's standing next to me like with his dick in his hand. Like he's the real celebrity.
I told you. We had this conversation like 2 podcasts back. I was like, you're famous. There are levels, but there's pockets to fame. You are famous. You were on TV 3 times in America. You were very, very polarizing.
Well, and this obviously was a gay man. And he said to me he had seen me 2 other times but couldn't get up the courage to ask for a picture because he must, I circle the same fucking few blocks. So, yeah.
Again, Corinne letting any serial killer know. Like,
you
guys, I have a schedule. Here's my
Why
house.
has no one stalked me yet?
You really are kind of putting the breadcrumbs out there.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I would love to hear your email. So you can reach us at mysafewordismoreadvice@gmail.com. We are starting Patreon. We're actually working on that after this podcast
After this
wraps.
show, it's going down.
So there are going to be other ways we're going to prioritize the emails from Patreon, and there's some other ways to get a little closer to your cult leaders.
Do you remember what advertising campaign Get a Little Closer was from?
Zest?
Close.
Close up the
No, but
the
you're
toothpaste?
close. You're in that.
Damn it. Closer with Big Red.
No.
Yes, get a little closer. Closer with Big Red.
I thought it was arid extra dry.
I don't know. Now there's like 4 campaigns. I definitely get a little closer with Big Red.
Okay, we will check on that. I remember Arid. Arid was like a whack deodorant that didn't make it.
Well, all of those. Close Up is the worst toothpaste. Big Red is the worst gum.
Big Red.
Terrible.
That sounds like who you have to see when you need to buy a knife in prison.
Yeah.
Like I need to talk to Big Red.
You get TMJ first, and then the flavor's gone. It's bad.
Awful gum. But here comes some great advice.
Please.
For I just had to pick this one just because the title is so it drew me to it, and it's not an easy thing to answer. That's why she needs us, and Corinne, I need your opinion. So here we go. How to deal with a rude as hell grandma. Okay, this person is asked to remain anonymous. Advice question, please keep me anonymous, says so-and-so.
Well, they have to say this now because Al doesn't understand this concept at all. So thank you. Please put that in your email.
But I want the realistic Corinne and Al advice for this situation. I have a boyfriend right now, love of my life. We are disgustingly cute and moving in, etc. I am probably going to be stuck with his family forever, and they live close to where we live. His grandma has no filter and says rude things to me all the time, like about my appearance.
What?
Commenting on the food on my plate and criticizing if I don't jump up to clear the table with the other women. I see her about once a month, and every time there is at least one dig. The rest of the family is super nice to me, to my face. She's in her 90s, so the obvious advice is to outlive her, but I'm not sure about the interim. Thanks. Ooh.
Oh, boy. So I actually have a friend with a similar problem, but it's the mother of this person, and they're a bit older, so the mother is older, and this woman is never going to die. She's going to outlive everybody, so it's not a really great bet to have. I think if I was in that position, I would lean all the way in till her grandmother, instead of it being subtle comments that only she is hearing, it will be really it'll get more aggressive and louder and everyone else will hear. So in other words, I would, when everyone's clearing the table, I would specifically not get up. Let her, lean into all the things that she doesn't like.
Right.
And get her really mad. And then when she blows up, she's going to look like the dick.
But I feel like grandma can't look like the dick because the family rule, that's just grandma being grandma. Even grandpa can be a dick, but grandma is just it's why everybody loves Sophia on Golden Girls, because the unsaid rule is when you become 90 years old, you can say whatever you want.
Grumpy as hell.
So the question is, how much would you take, Corinne, would you ever say anything back?
Yeah.
Even if you're like, this is going to be my guy, and you're potentially, he loves his grandma. So is it worth it to potentially tank that for somebody in their 90s?
I'm assuming she tried the killer with kindness. Well, first killer.
Yeah.
But the killer,
kindness is the name of the poison. That's the company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she tried that angle and it was not successful. It sounds like this old bat doesn't like you, and that's probably not going to change.
Right.
So I would stop trying to please her, and I would just try and embarrass her. I think that at a certain point, she didn't get into whether the boyfriend is acknowledging that the grandma's a dick or if he's defending her.
This isn't her first girlfriend that she's tried to chase off. I think she just is just because people are older doesn't mean that they're going to be the sweet grandma. Sometimes it's your mean grandma.
I'll tell you a story. So my grandma, I've told you before that she refused to have conversation with the guy that I had brought home for Thanksgiving because she said nobody ever lasts and it was a waste of her final breaths.
Wow.
And so before that, the reason that she got to that conclusion was I was dating a guy for a while. He was a physician, and that'll come into play in a second. And he was a good-looking guy. He was a doctor, and he treated me very well. And I told her in the very beginning he had to have a heart ablation. It's not a major surgery, but he had an arrhythmia and he had to have his heart ablated. I casually mentioned it to her. I was with him for 3 years. He got ablated maybe a year into our relationship.
Wait, what does that mean? I'm sorry, I can't.
I don't know what the technical procedure is, but basically...
That sounded pretty technical.
An ablation is it's kind of like cauterizing the valves.
Oh, okay.
It's if I'd have to look it up.
I think you nailed it. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, I probably really butchered that. But for anyone out there, it doesn't really matter. Just know that I casually mentioned to my grandmother that he was going to be getting this ablation surgery. And my grandmother turned. She was like, she started to be like, I'm not, I was like, hey, we're all going upstate. At the time I lived in New York. And I was like, he's going to come out and meet us upstate. And she's like, I don't think you should come. And I was like, is there, you got a problem with him now? And she goes, he's got a heart problem. Get rid of him. That is how, like, my grandmother operated. Yeah. Like, she just figured out that there's a chance he's not, like, a super stable. I mean, there's really not. It's not a big deal. But she decided he was imperfect. And, like, an imperfect apple, she threw him back in the bin. And she was like, I don't want him to come upstate. I think you can do better. You can get somebody with a good heart. And I was like, okay, well, he's coming upstate. So cut to, he comes upstate. And now she's being, she wasn't being an asshole, but she was purposely like not engaging with him and just like not really fucking with him. And then day 2, she comes, her bedroom upstairs is across from mine. And so she knocks on my door and she comes in the room and she's all frazzled. And I said, what's up? And she's like, okay, your mother's going to kill me. I forgot my blood pressure medication in Florida. I have to take it every day. I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, you know what you can do? You can ask Eddie to write you a prescription. And he can write you a prescription for your fucking shitty system. I go, she needed Cozart.
He writes that in the memo.
Yeah. Oh, look, what shoe is on the wrong foot now, Estelle? So she goes, okay, but please don't tell your mom and dad. Like, my grandmother was so afraid that my mom was going to be like, you've got to be kidding that you forgot your meds,
Yeah.
And like, at the time, this is many years ago, it wasn't like the internet, there wasn't all the prescription RX fills like that we have now.
Right.
So Eddie, he writes our prescription, and he had his car up there because we drove up from New York. He went and got her the script and like brought it to her, and she turned back around.
And she was cool after that.
Well, yeah. I was like, here's the deal. You be nice to him, or I tell your little secret to my mom.
Right.
So.
Or I don't tell you which one of those is placebo.
Yeah, exactly. So I forever kept her secret until this podcast, but my mom doesn't listen, so it won't matter. And she did. She did like really. Yeah, I mean, she really didn't have a choice. But so I don't know if there's something in there for you. If there's something you could find.
Here's selfish capitalistic Al. Make a TikTok account.
Oh my God.
Things.
I love that advice.
Hidden camera. She's
Yes.
not moving around a whole lot.
No.
So if the conversation is going to take place in the living room, you just set your phone up, make it look normal, and
She's
then
not
just
gonna know.
sit there and wait and just like tear up like, oh, man, dinner's over. What should I do?
Yeah, no, dinner's over. I hope there's dessert. And
Yeah.
then, like, let her unleash.
Yeah, she's going to, I think.
Poke the bear.
Yes. Look, lean into it.
That's very good.
Lean into it.
So it's a little of my advice, but then there's the angle of let's get
just
this on
like
film.
you know what it really when my house was burglarized, but more specifically when my car got stolen, my first thought was like, even though I was mad in the moment, I was like, let me handle this like a comic, not a Karen. That's what I said to myself. I was like, anybody can get mad. Oh, my car got towed. Oh, but it's like if you try and find the humor. Really quick, there's a weird side story, but this is when I started having this mentality. I dip to LA to go see the kiddos on the weekends and come back. I'll usually take that 5 a.m., 5:15 United from Denver
brutal.
straight to from LA straight to Denver and drive straight to work. And the only time I ever missed the first show on a Monday it's super rare. The first flight out's always on time. There was like an engine problem or something, so the flight was delayed like 30, 40 minutes. So everybody in the terminal is just like, what? People was just business guys. They're like, what the fuck? And I got people had babies. And everybody's kind of freaking out. And I was getting there. I was mad, but I was like, there's nothing I can do. And I remember this Jennifer Lopez song. What's her big hit song? Waiting for Tonight.
Oh, I hate that song.
But that was on at like 6 in the morning. The flight is 45 minutes late. People are calling, telling their business contacts. People with babies trying to get home are freaking out,
Everybody
yelling.
on that flight had somewhere to be.
And in this sea of just angry, upset adults that really can't do anything, this black woman that worked at LAX was so oblivious, and she just had her finger going because she loved this song, and she was so into it. it took me out of the so tired, I'm a mad customer, it's so boring. And I just started looking at this woman, and she was just like doing her finger like this in the air because her favorite song was playing at 5:57 on a Monday morning.
Wait,
and her joy just reminded me that, like, I can't change the flight. I am going to miss my first show. What I do is I text my executive producer and say, no problem, we got it covered. It's annoying. It sucks for them. Things happen. Are you going to be mad all the time? Or are you going to be that black woman? Sometimes it's like, waiting for tonight. She was so joyful of this song. And I'll never not smile when I think about that. So you think about that when you start your own TikTok.
Yeah, and we'll follow you on
yes.
TikTok. This reminded me of something I screenshot, and this was like no reason for me to do this. And I have to assume this chick will never discover this podcast, so it won't matter. But there's a girl that I went to high school with that I really don't remember. But you know how there's just like people on your Facebook, and you're like, she's nice enough. She likes my shit. I'll take anybody that's like a frequent liker. You're never getting deleted. I need the likes. She likes all my shit. So she uploads these posts that are just somewhat nonsensical. And so she uploaded this, and I screenshot it. And it is about airports. This is why, because I was thinking about when we talked about the people that get to the airport and get a drink before they go through security. So she says, well, I made it after having a 1:57 p.m. flight and arriving at the airport at 10:45. Okay, so just think about this for a minute. She got to the airport at 10:45 a.m. for a 2 p.m. flight. Okay. This is obviously either she was raised by Fred Kaplan or she doesn't fly very often. And you also don't say, like, I made it. I mean, the plane didn't crash.
We assumed.
Yeah. She goes, I actually hung out by the ticket counter for a while because I didn't want to go through security in case I needed fresh air, and then I'd have to go through security again. I just want to pause here at Housespace. You guys, this is why we have a video component.
Oh, my God.
Hung out by the ticket counter. I'm sorry. What? There are a lot of places you can hang out in an airport.
Do you understand the risk you are taking by doing that? Sometimes they shut down security because they're down 2 security booths or something. I've seen it where it has the funnel all through one. It's a crapshoot. When you're at the airport, you go through security. That's the only way you're going to guarantee to be.
What? Fresh air? Are you not indoors? I mean, are you Mowgli? Do you live outside? What do you mean fresh air? What did you think was going to happen in this airport? Like, there's air in the airport, I promise.
And where's the fresh air outside with 700 cars and people saying, you got to move. You got to move. I miss you, Mom. Oh, my God, you're back.
Buses.
There's nothing fresh out there.
Okay, it gets much better. So she says, I went down through security at 12:30 and went to a pizza restaurant next to the gate. At 1:47, no, mind you, the flight's at 1:57. Bitch got there at 10:45 a.m. and she has made a whole day of this. At 1:47, I shouted up to the gate and they said I missed the flight. I was 10 minutes early and they said I missed it. I looked at the plane through the window and watched it leave. So you guys, she thought... Don't you understand how boarding works?
No.
They don't just like... I don't understand how she got to the airport. She had a whole day at the airport. Good pizza, fresh air.
She had a whole eat, pray, love day through the airport. I stopped and there's a church, non-Unitarian up there. Just go to your freaking gate, ma'am.
So she ends up having to take the next flight. She goes into that. She's, what a mess. At least I'm here and all is well. Still annoyed at the lady in Louisville, however you say that. She was extremely rude and I was going to get her name, but I'm not one to complain. If I see her when I get back through, I'm going to get her name. And say what?
She still doesn't understand.
She doesn't understand that she's in the wrong here. And because, I went to this fucking high school in Florida, people are commenting she's right.
Oh, my God.
I'm so sorry. Oh, my God. I don't know. I didn't understand, I guess, that, are people that don't know how airports work still.
It's demoralizing. It's because you keep thinking, when you watch movies that are in the future and there's cool stuff and they're and you just look around and you're like, there's no way. Because in 2023, you just have somebody treating the airport like a wise old man walking around a pond, just like chilling, taking her time, window shopping.
This is the wildest thing I've ever heard. I just hung out at the counter in case I was going to need fresh air. Then get to the airport later.
I would pay money because you and I are airport nerds.
Yeah.
We're travelers. There couldn't be anything more boring about
No.
how we travel. We are efficient and sad.
Yeah.
I want to look at the airport through her eyes. I want to see the joy in, like, she shows up in this world.
Uh-huh.
She's like, I'm going to have some pizza. Or there's a flower shop in a concourse I'm not going to. It's only 10:45. My flight leaves in 20 minutes. We're going to stop here. Like,
I want to ride the monorail a little bit.
Like, I am flying through the airport. I have to get my rental car, drive through rush hour traffic in Chicago, and everything works out perfectly. I'll be able to walk onto stage. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
This is what's in my head.
Yeah.
And she's just like, there's a place that has luggage, but it's upstairs next to the taqueria. No one knows about it. It's real leather straps on there. And she just casually, I
heard there's a Kylie Jenner makeup
and I guarantee
vending machine.
Because and also the people that work those gates, they see enough names and the names of faces that go along with it that it's not even like, oh, looking at your name and judging what you look like. They know I guarantee you the people doing the last call, because I've seen Albert Jackson, who's got a black name that's sitting in this concourse with his headphones on, dumbbell, come up here. When they're calling, I guarantee you they were looking at her in the pizza kitchen.
She yelled up to the gate, like from the pizzeria 10 minutes
must have been like,
get the fuck
we're
out.
closing the door. Anybody that might care, you can get a to-go box. Yeah. And she's like, nope. She probably stopped. She's like, where's your restroom? She's like, I'm washing her hands.
If she's worried about fresh air inside an airport, imagine what she would do on the plane. God. Does she understand how that works? It's so wonderful. It's so special.
Thank you for just like honestly bringing back my joy in life. Yeah. In that email mixed with Anonymous, I think that we really brought it home. But I didn't know that I could just look at somebody and just be like, I can't believe we are like living on the same planet. Like we are nothing alike. No one's better or worse. I'm just like, I'm in shock because she got there early. And
so crazy.
She got pizza.
I mean,
they must have been calling her name.
Yeah, of course.
They had to have been calling her name.
She checked in. Of course. They know she's somewhere in the
had
airport.
Been close.
She spent a lot of time at the counter. Surely she checked the bag. It's perfect. And I just want to point out that I've had to read a lot of her boring ass statuses to get to the gold. But this made years of being her friend on Facebook worth it.
Oh, God. The day she must have out of the airport, she just so got up. Oh, my God. Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
On that note,
okay.
I don't think we're gonna top that.
Yeah, no, that made that needed to come out, man. I didn't even like it because everything you were saying just started piling up, and I'm just thinking about like how much joy she must. It just like
Dear diary today.
It makes me so happy. It makes me, and then like she has friends that are like, that's fucked up.
Oh, you should get her name. You should.
What was she supposed to do? Tell the plane to wait? So y'all like, can y'all be cool? She's wrapping up.
I want to refill my fountain soda before I get on.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay, Corinne, you need to tell everybody where they can find us and all the good news coming up.
So the Patreon information will be in our bio, in our episode description on the podcast page. We are now going to have video. So you can actually watch us cracking up. I was really losing it. On YouTube, my safe word is more. And my safe word is more on Instagram. And I'll take us home.
Hey, I'm going to tell you guys to keep your head above water.
Just keep swimming. We love you guys.
Love y'all.